Hey guys, it's Mr. Wigand. Today we're going to look at adding and subtracting integers. First we're going to look at adding and subtracting integers with the number line because that's probably how most kids learn it to begin with. A great way to start out learning how to use integers and how to add and subtract them. There's 3 steps you want to follow. First step, start by going to the first number on the number line. Step 2, if you're adding, face to the right. That's where the positive numbers are. If you're subtracting, face to the left. That is where the negative numbers are. Third step, if the second number is positive, you move forward according to the value of the number. If the second number is negative, move backward according to the value of the number. So let's try one. Let's try negative 3 plus 4. Alright, so first step, start by going to the first number on the number line. So negative 3 will be right here. If you are adding, face to the right. And we are adding, so we are facing to the right in that direction. If the second number is positive, you move forward. So our second number is a positive 4, so we're going to move forward 4. So forward, since we're facing to the right, forward would be this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that's going to be our answer, positive 1. Very simple. Using the number line, easy way to add integers. Alright, let's try subtracting integers. Let's do negative 3 minus 4. Alright, so we're going to follow the same steps. Start by going to the first number on the number line, so that was negative 3. We are subtracting, so we're facing to the left. If the second number is positive, we move forward. So this second number is a positive 4. It's not negative. That's a subtraction sign. The number itself is positive. So we're going to go forward 4. So forward, since we're facing to the left, is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that's our answer, negative 7. Real simple, easy way to add and subtract integers. If you follow those 3 steps, you'll always get the right answer. Here's a few problems for you to try. Use the number line, see what you come up with. Hit pause on the video, because I'm going to go over the answers in a second. And then hit play again, and when you come back you'll see me doing the problems for you. Alright, so number 1, 3 plus 7. We're starting at 3 on the number line. We're going to face to the right because it's a plus. And since it's a positive 7, we're going to walk forward 7. So the answer for that one is going to be 10. Number 2, negative 4. We'll start at negative 4. It's plus, so we're going to face to the right. But it's a negative 5. So we're going to walk backwards 5. That's going to take us to negative 9. How you doing so far? Hopefully good. Alright, so third problem. We start at negative 7. We're going to add, so we're going to face to the right. It's a positive number, so we keep going forward to the right. And the answer is going to be negative 2. Fourth problem. We start at 9. We're adding, so we're facing to the right. But it's a negative 3, so we're walking backwards 3, now forward. So that's going to take us to positive 6. Number 5, we're starting at 3. It's a subtraction problem, so we're facing to the left now. But we're going forward 5, because 5 is positive. And that's going to take us to negative 2. Number 6, we start at negative 4. We're subtracting, so we're facing to the left. It's a positive 2, so we're going to go forward 2, and that's going to take us to negative 6. Problem number 7, we start at 2 on the number line. We're subtracting, so we're facing to the left, but it's a negative 7, so we're going backwards 7. That will take us to 9. And then last problem, number 8. Negative 2, we're going to start at negative 2 on the number line. We're subtracting, so we're facing to the left. It's a negative 3, so we move backwards 3, so that's going to take us to positive 1. Alright, that was 8 problems for you to practice. Hopefully you did well. If not, we're going to need to practice these some more. We're going to move on now to something a little bit different. Some of you may have already learned some of these rules and steps. We're going to look at rules for adding integers and later steps for subtracting integers. One of the great things about these rules are that When you are learning how to add and subtract using a number line, you start to notice patterns and you start to do some of these rules without even learning them. So some of you guys, whether you've learned them or not, have already been doing this. Another great advantage is you don't have to draw a number line every problem. Number line is a nice, easy way to do these problems, but do you really want to draw a number line all the time? Most people don't. And then the last one, we can do larger numbers now. The number line we were looking at earlier only went out to positive 10 and negative 10, and if we were doing a problem, let's say 50 plus negative 70, I don't think anyone wants to draw a number line with numbers that large. So, some advantages to following the rules. Here are the rules. If the two numbers are positive, simply add them together, and the answer is positive. So we're going to look at problem number 1 here. Two numbers are positive. We simply add them together. 3 plus 16 is 19, and the answer is positive. Simple enough. You already knew how to add positive numbers. You may have not have thought of it in terms of integers before, but now you will. All right, number 2. If the two integers are negative, take the absolute value of each integer, add them together, and the answer is negative. All right, so that's like problem number 2 here. Adding two negatives. So I take the absolute value of each integer. Absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4. The absolute value of negative 12 is positive 12. I'm going to add those two together. 4 plus 12 is 16. And then since both numbers were negative, the answer is going to be negative 16. All right, then number 3. If one integer is positive and one integer is negative, then take the absolute value of both integers, subtract the smaller from the larger, and give the answer the sign of the larger absolute value number from the original problem. Now that sounds really complicated, but once you've done a couple of these, it turns out it's not that difficult. So we're going to look at these two numbers. First off, I want to take the absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 1 is 1. The absolute value of 17 is 17. I'm going to subtract the smaller from the larger. So I'm going to do 17 minus 1. 1 is smaller, 17 is larger. I get 16. All right, now I have to decide the sign of this answer. So I look back at the original problem. 17 is bigger than 1. 17 was positive, so the answer is positive. I always want to do that at the end because you want to make sure you get the right sign. All right, so there's our rules for adding integers. Okay, once again, just like always, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video, rewind it, go back and look at it a few times if you're not sure. All right, we're also going to try some of these now on your own. So here's some problems for you to try. So if you would like to pause the video for a little bit, give yourself an opportunity to do some of these problems, then turn it back on and you can watch me as I go through each of these. Good luck. Alright, so number 1. Negative 5 plus negative 10. I'm adding two negatives. So I'm going to take the absolute value of each of those. Absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Absolute value of negative 10 is 10. I'm going to add those two numbers together, 15, and then I'm going to put a negative sign on. Pretty easy, huh? Alright, second one. I'm adding a positive and a negative. This is the third example. So I'm going to take the absolute value of both numbers. The absolute value of negative 10 is 10. Absolute value of 13 is 13. I'm going to take the subtraction now, the smaller from the larger. So 13 minus 10, and that's 3. And then I look back. What's bigger, 13 or 10? 13 is bigger and it was positive, so the answer is positive. All right, number 3, once again, I'm adding a positive and negative. So I take the absolute value of 16, which is 16. The absolute value of negative 19, which is 19. Subtracting smaller from larger, 19 minus 16. I get 3. And then I look back. What's larger, 19 or 16? 19 is larger, and it was negative, so then this is going to be a negative 3. All right, number 4. I'm adding two negatives. Absolute value of both those numbers, 8 and 12. I add them together, 20, and I put a negative sign back on. And then number 5, one's positive, one's negative. Absolute value of both numbers, 9 and 6. subtract the smaller from the larger. 9 minus 6. I look back, what's larger, 6 or 9? 9's larger and it was negative, so negative. Alright, so that's how we're adding integers. We have 3 different types of problems. One where we're adding 2 positives, one where we're adding 2 negatives, and one where we're adding a positive and a negative.